Hey everyone, welcome to the Self-Awareness Journey podcast. I'm Melissa Albers.
And I'm JJ Parker. This podcast is for seekers. Seekers of happiness and joy, seekers of a centered approach to success in life, seekers of their true, authentic selves.
Get ready for some real talk on everything from anxiety, emotions, and habits to love, compassion, and forgiveness. We know you'll be challenged and enlightened by this conversation. We're so glad you're here. Let's dive in.
All right, Melissa, we've got two exciting things happening right now.
Yes, two. Well, I know of one.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
We're doing our podcast together in the same room.
Right. That's so fun.
We tried once. It didn't work. It sounded bad. We have new microphones. I think it's going to sound way better.
Well, let's hope so. I feel like, like we're in a real live radio studio
I
now
know,
because we
right?
kind of are.
It's totally awesome. The second thing that's exciting is that last week we launched our Art of Self-Awareness course.
Yes. I'm so excited.
So let's talk about the course a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how kind of it came into being.
Yeah.
And what we hope people will get out of it. And,
Well, you call us self-awareness nerds, right?
Yeah.
And I think in the beginning of this process, which has now been a couple of years, we just decided we were going to start a podcast. We had no idea. And we said, we're not going to release it until we have at least 5.
Yep.
Right? Because we all heard, if you start a podcast, everybody quits after the third one.
Now this is almost 80.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is.
It is. Actually, I think it is number 79
Somewhere
or
in
80.
there.
Yeah. And so we started with that. And the real intention was, okay, Melissa, you have this coaching model. You're not making a whole lot of progress and kicking it out to the world as a model. JJ, I really like self-awareness, and we're always riffing on ideas together. And maybe it would be fun if we want to create anything without any expectation. Maybe it should just be a podcast.
Yeah.
So that's how it started.
Yep. Actually, I really vividly remember that day because we were at Spy House Coffee. We were engaged in some deep conversation about self-awareness.
Yeah.
And I was just you know what? This should be the podcast.
Yeah.
Just me and you talking about this stuff. Maybe some people find it interesting.
Yeah. And now we have
Turns out.
Hundreds of downloads a week.
Turns out, yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember that day, that woman that came in with that huge dog?
Oh, yeah.
Side note. So we started this podcast, and then as we started to get in our flow of meeting regularly to do the podcast, which is what we'd always done in our other business, we started thinking well, what else could we do since we're already meeting, right?
Yep. So we started making videos.
So we started making videos.
It's our pastime.
That's our go-to.
Right.
I love it. We're working with a promo marketing person, and I love how she's like, oh my gosh, you guys have so much content. Usually when people come to me, they have 6 things, and we have to try to make it look big. For you guys, we're sifting through all this, trying to find what awesome thing we should use. There's so many options.
Yeah, we in the course of a year made something like 200 videos.
Yeah, it is.
That's crazy.
It is. And they can all be found on our website if anyone's interested, theselfawarenessjourney.com, videos.
So we started making the podcast. We started making the videos.
Yep.
And we took your coaching model.
Yep.
And we turned it into 7 lessons.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Using a visual that we call the roadmap.
Yep.
Yep.
And so we had created that a few months ago or a year ago.
Yeah, no,
a while
ago. Yeah, it's almost a year and a half ago for sure.
And that was our first attempt at taking the Self-Awareness Journey coaching model.
Yeah.
And turning it into kind of a curriculum to guide people through. Because obviously, the podcast is just us riffing off ideas.
Right.
It isn't really, and while it, I think, is helpful for getting, different perspective on things and kind of exploring different tributaries, the purpose isn't to get someone from, where they are now to, kind of a destination or at least a new model of thinking. Where the coaching model is designed for that.
Specifically, right. And based off of my coaching that I do with all of my clients and have been for years. I agree with you. I think the podcast is a wonderful tool because it helps bring people together. It brings like-spirited, like-minded, like-hearted people together to think about things that they don't normally think about, to have awareness about things that they aren't normally aware of, or they've been aware of it, but not in the same way, right?
Yeah.
So I think the podcast has just done a beautiful job of that and keeping it forefront in people's hearts and minds.
Yep.
So I think that the podcast has been a wonderful thing for that, and I'm so grateful we do it. I love it. I just, it's like my favorite part of the week, right?
Yeah.
But you're right. So we started to create this curriculum, but if you'll recall, like even back in the earlier months of our creating this, we never had a real plan. Like we weren't saying, we're going to do this and people are going to go through this process. Like we were pretty loosey-goosey about that.
Yeah, well, it goes back to our fundamental not have a plan about our art project, right?
So we're really good at it.
Yeah.
We're so good at our plan. We're hitting our plan all day long.
Yeah, which you can tune into in previous podcasts where we go on and on about how we don't have a plan. Well, so we made like a first pass at the sort of like the curriculum or the course, right? And we just put it on the website as 7 like fairly long lessons, right? They're like 40 minutes long or something.
Yeah.
But they didn't have much context around it, right? It's just like, again, like our style, like, boy, here's some videos. Maybe some people get through them, but it wasn't structured at all.
Yeah.
Right.
Or whatever it was structured on, we didn't really communicate that that's the intention behind these lessons, is it's a structured approach.
Right.
There was something in us that we just felt like that was we weren't ready yet, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. We just didn't have much intention about that then.
Yeah. Yeah, just looking back at those, it is funny that we just made them and put them out there and never put any context around it.
And you know what, though? When I watch those videos, they are so good. Like, they are so good. I'm so proud of that. Like, it's amazing. So, yeah, you're right. So we got all these lessons together.
Those a lot of that video stuff, for me, when I watch it, it's like, all I think is that I was like, wow, I was out of my mind while we were doing those.
Yes.
And not like I was a crazy person or something, but like
I was flow.
Like, I was like, wow, I can't believe that we did those lessons.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they came out so effortlessly.
Yes, they did. And they're really good.
And looking back at it, I was like, wow, we were just in a completely different mental state.
I know. Well, we weren't in a mental state.
That's the flow. Like, that's us being in the zone, in flow,
our
however you want to
self.
put it.
That's our authentic self. If you look at the roadmap and, the experience of being in your authentic self, everything's easy, creation's easy. And what you create is, like, otherworldly. Like, it's amazing content. And it's in the course, too, by the way. Obviously. Well, not obviously.
It's a giant chunk of the course.
You know what I just realized? After we created those 7 lessons and we put them online, the only advertising or marketing or promotional stuff that we did was we reached out to our individual networks and we said, oh, hey, by the way, we did this. If you know anybody that could benefit, please let them know. But that's all we did. And I think we did it maybe once or 2 times.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
We're so bad at promotion.
What's really funny, though, not funny but interesting, is right behind that, and people that I hadn't sent anything to, 2 clients reached out and said, will you curate some of the content that you've made for us in a corporate plan? And so that sent us down a huge hill, right? But isn't it interesting? We built this, and all of a sudden there were people there that wanted to go through it. And it was like our beta testing of this, of the process. The art of self-awareness. It was the beta testing, although I don't even really know if we thought that. Like, I think we thought, oh, maybe we're making this big corporate product. Yeah. And we tried to dumb down some of those amazing lessons into bite-sized chunks because we were informed that, well, if you're looking at it from a corporate perspective, it can't be this long because no one's going to listen.
No one's going to watch your 6 hours of video.
Yeah, right? Right?
Yep.
But in that course of time, within like 2 or 3 months, we had over 300 or 400 people on the platform going through our beta, and we were blowing that off like it was just no big deal. Oh, gosh.
It's okay.
Work amnesia. We're having, like, the fact that I just remembered that, I'm now shaking my head going, good Lord.
We keep on saying we have to do an episode on work amnesia.
We do.
We also do take suggestions, so if anyone out there has a topic for the podcast,
we'd love that.
Shoot us a message on Facebook.
We'd love it.
So let's actually get back to the course.
Yes.
So So that's the history of the course, right?
Yep.
Like podcast, made a bunch of videos, did some corporate stuff. Then here we go.
Right.
Why did we decide to package everything that we've created in the past year and a half into a course?
Yeah.
What changed?
Yeah, I'd be interested to hear how you answer that.
I'm asking the questions over here.
Dang
not
it.
you.
Jeez, and now that we're in one room, I can't even look away or turn my screen off. You're right there, literally right there. What changed, I think for me, was honestly more self-confidence about what this was, and recognizing that, I had this block that we couldn't help people in this manner. I wanted to believe we could. I knew we had all the resources, but there was something in the confidence that said, maybe we shouldn't. Maybe who are we to, And I think what changed is the more we've worked on this, and then I have heard other people's feedback. Like we've got hundreds of people that, like I mentioned, we've got hundreds of people that are hopping on this podcast every week, which is super cool, right? Like we never expected that. And I think we've kind of fallen into a lot of this.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. If doing this helps one person, it's worth it to me. And we weren't guided enough in the process prior. So to me, we needed to put some legs around it and help people understand this is a self-guided course for you. You log in to your own dashboard. It's beautiful. It's easy to use. You can watch videos on your own. There's reflection questions in between each stage. I mean, it's just such a nice way for people to not be preoccupied with, am I doing this right?
Yeah.
Is this right?
Yeah. That's kind of like what I realized, right as we were kind of with the idea that maybe we should turn everything we've made into something more structured, was just this idea, when I looked at all the stuff we had made, I'm like, oh yeah, this is completely unapproachable. Who's going to go to the website and sort and sift through all of this stuff?
Yeah.
It doesn't hardly even make sense. We didn't even, even the lesson video page on the website, it didn't even have any explanation around it. It's just here's 7 super long videos. Right? So the idea that we tee up what a course on self-awareness is, what you're going to get out of it, right?
Yeah.
How the process should work, and then guiding you through all that,
right,
step by step. I think it's going to be really helpful.
I do too. I'm really, really excited about it.
Yep.
And I also love how we've created more of a natural environment for learning. We have a closed Facebook page for the users of this tool. We have how when people sign up, they get 30 minutes of coaching from me to help them in any way that will help them in this process. It's like being able to do things like that, as long as we can do that.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about that, right?
I'm sure everyone caught that subtlety. You get a call with Melissa, not with JJ, because that would
you signed me. You didn't put your name on there. You go ahead. We can set you up. Oh, we'll just open your calendar to everyone. You're so free about it.
Melissa, I need you to change these permissions on your calendar so I can let people sign up to call you.
You did not even ask. You just said, bring your computer. I need to do some stuff. And me, the trusting one. Okay.
So, since I'm the interviewer here.
Oh.
So what do you? Okay, so I think everyone we get a sense of what the course is, right?
Yeah.
You sign up, self-guide through. It's a whole bunch of videos. It goes through the core lessons. There's questions and a bunch of great content. So what do you hope that people are going to get at the end? After they go through it.
Yep.
What change is going to happen, or do you hope is going to happen? In our students. I'm
going to answer that by telling you about a conversation I had last night with a good friend and mentor and fellow coach. She's a powerhouse. She's a very strong Christian. And so everything in her coaching is very much around God and her belief in God. And so as she's talking to me, she said, Melissa, in this process, who are you leading these people to?
That's an interesting question.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And part of the question was around God, but part of the question was also around ego. She and I had been in a couple of large networking environments that were pay to play, and it was a bit of a brainwash, right? You buy this from us and you're going to be so great, right? And so she's extra sensitive about that, as am I. And so she's like, I just want your ego to keep in mind that this process is to teach people on their own and not become dependent on you. And I was like, yes, that's exactly what we're doing. And so when she asked me the question, who are you bringing it back to? Who are they leading? Who are they being led to? And in the moment, I didn't have an answer because I was so flummoxed by her question. It was so specific. But I sat and riffed on it all last night. And as of today, I love the question because we're bringing you back to who you really are. We're bringing you back to your inner being.
Like bringing you back to yourself.
You're bringing it back to yourself. That's right. And she could say, well, yeah, some people already are there. And yes, and there's so much further to go.
Yeah, actually, I would actually argue that you're never there. Like you can be there
fleetingly,
temporarily, and some people can spend more of their time in that authentic space than less. But I don't think anyone's there 100%.
No, not at all.
Of the time.
Not at all. And my personal goal is, I believe like this is why I'm on the planet, is to help people in this way. I really believe that's why I'm on this planet. Like that is my purpose. So if my purpose is to help educate people in a way that they don't feel judged, they can go through their own processes and learn how they think and feel about things and why, they become better human beings. They're in better relationship with themselves. They're healthier. They're happier. They're more centered and stable. But then think about the impact of everyone else they're around. You know, we forget what happens to one of us happens to all of us. And I always say that, but people don't realize the depth of that sometimes. I shouldn't say people don't realize it. Some people do realize it. So it is my goal to continue to just be very intentional about us being able to keep doing this and to provide content for people, to provide people with a structure, to provide people with the support, and to provide people with a like-hearted community. And I didn't say like-minded.
Yeah.
Like-hearted community to grow more light on this planet.
That's an awesome mission. I think we had like a episode about your purpose or whatever.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, that was such a good episode. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, but your mission is amazing.
Well, I'm
happy to be part of it.
Well, and you have a similar mission, different wording, but and I don't need to be lauded about the mission. Like I actually don't like talking about it. I like to just quietly go around and do it without making a fanfare. Yeah,
totally. I get that that's part of your personality. But also,
you're the same way.
It's an awesome mission, and you should be proud of it.
Yeah, I am proud of it. And I think there's so much further to go. Like to me, this art of self-awareness is the core baseline course to teach people what their internal processes are and have a much different relationship with their inner being. And then inner being is attached to whoever is your source, whatever is your source, whether you say God, whether you say Buddha, whether you say whatever. But your inner being is what is that direct connection, right? Yeah. And your inner being is never wrong. And we just have gotten away from having a good relationship with our inner being. So there's so many more courses that we are planning on building around this, right? Like there's so many fun opportunities for it. But yes, now. Let's
get this one out the door first.
Right now.
Also, you and I get easily distracted. We got this thing done 99% of the way, and then we get distracted and never release it. But it's out. Okay.
It's out.
The course is out.
Yes.
Everyone can check it out.
Yes.
On the selfawarenessjourney.com. Click on course on the top.
Yep.
Tell you all about it.
Yeah.
You can sign up. And it's going to be great.
Yep. And there will be a number of promotional things and marketing things that people will start seeing on some of their standard social media platforms, LinkedIn and Facebook and maybe Instagram, who knows.
Yep.
So we're going to, for the next several weeks, we'll be talking a lot about this to be more intentional about making it available to everybody that wants it.
Awesome.
Did you enjoy this episode? Please go to your favorite podcast platform to subscribe, rate, and leave a review so others can discover it as well.
Growing self-awareness is a lifelong journey, and there's always further to go. And it's better when we're all in it together. Please think of someone you know who could benefit from hearing today's conversation and share this episode with them. We can't thank you enough for listening. Until next time, happy exploring, seekers.